November 17, 2017. Two masked men go to a local drug hangout called the Treehouse near Key West to rob a woman named Paula Belmont.
Two people came barreling up the stairs. One jumped on me immediately, slit my neck, telling me that if I didn't give him the money, he was going to kill me.
As she was being held at knife point, Matthew Bonnet rushed to help her and was stabbed to death on the steps.
As these two people were going down the stairs, my landlord Matthew came up the stairs, and Rory Detroit Wilson, the one who slit my neck, started to take off his mask, and Matthew saw it, and that's when he got stabbed and murdered.
Rory Wilson and Ty Tucker were arrested and accused of targeting Belmont as payback for a drug deal gone wrong.
I know about the Treehouse, and I know what went down there, but I had somebody tell me about it today.
Wilson was convicted of murder and robbery in 2022. A third man, Travis Johnson, who drove Wilson and Tucker to the Treehouse, pleaded guilty as part of a plea deal. 2 years after his arrest, while he was being housed at the Monroe County Jail, Tucker reconnected with his high school girlfriend, Lauren Janai, the co-founder of CrossFit.
She was gorgeous.
Did you have a crush on her?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Instantaneously. I got stupid real quick.
Inside Edition cameras were in court when Janai went to bail her new boyfriend out of jail.
He's not a murderer. I know him. He's not somebody who would do that kind of thing.
They married in 2020, and Tucker lived with Janai in Oregon as he awaited his trial. Tucker is facing multiple charges, including murder, robbery, and aggravated assault. He has maintained his innocence since 2017 and claims that he's being framed by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
The captain who was in charge of the investigation, she's in trouble for some racist comments she made on one of the videos.
In September 2023, Tucker successfully petitioned the court to dismiss his attorneys and allow him to represent himself at trial.
Unbelievable turnaround, right? You look at that mugshot and then you see what he looks like now, and then today you see and hear him in the courtroom representing himself. Like, no resemblance whatsoever to that mugshot and what you would expect. I mean, he got up on his feet today representing himself inside that courtroom and sounded like a little bit like a lawyer, maybe a lot like a lawyer. Matt Johnson, Court TV crime and justice correspondent, takes a look at the big moments from today.
Hi, Vinny. The Treehouse murder trial is underway in Florida. This defendant representing himself pro se. And right out the gate, he faced his arresting officer.
Why do they call this residence the Treehouse?
So it was legit a treehouse. It was almost like a outdoor platform tower. I believe there was 2 levels and stairs going up all the way to the top.
Did you have any other parts in this investigation beyond those initial days?
Yes. A few days later.
Okay, a few days later, and...
I was on shift again, and I got called to assist with arresting you.
Oh, thanks. But, whatever. I'm not going to hold it against you.
Prosecutors say that Tucker went to the Treehouse with Rory Wilson to rob Paula Belmont. As she was being held at knife point, the victim, Matthew Bonnet, rushed over to help and was fatally stabbed 5 times.
A neighbor, Mr. Matthew Bonnet, heard the screams and decided to render aid, or at least try to assist in somehow. As he was coming up the stairs, the evidence will show that Mr. Tucker and Mr. Wilson confronted him. There was a struggle that ensued, and Mr. Bonnet was stabbed numerous times and eventually died from these injuries.
Defendant Tucker told the jury that he was not at the Treehouse. None of his DNA was recovered, and the key witnesses can't place him at the murder scene.
That was quite the story. But the problem is nothing in that story tells you what evidence they have, what evidence they're going to show. You know, how are they going to actually tie me into that story? Anyway, you know, the prosecution, you know, tells that story, but the problem is very little of that story is true. That's the bottom line. And, you know, yes, about the only thing that was true in that story is, yes, Travis Johnson was there. We're going to, you know, put on the surviving victim, Miss Paula Belmont, who says, 100% sure it wasn't me that night. 100%. Now, just as Mr. Alvarez said, this is a woman who was brutally beaten, robbed, had her throat slit, literally sat there and watched her friend get murdered viciously. But yet she is testifying on my side. Now, don't get me wrong, what motivation could she have?
But now that key witness might not even testify. She's in the hospital, so a judge will later decide if she can testify via Zoom. The jury did hear, however, from another survivor of that deadly attack during day one of testimony.
At some point, you said something happened, right?
Yes, something happened.
All right, well, let's tell the jury what happened.
Two guys came up the steps, looked around the corner. They were wearing a skull mask, and they came up, and I stood up, one of them nailed me, knocked me right back into the chair.
And Vinnie Tucker is facing life behind bars if convicted. Testimony resumes tomorrow. Vinnie?
All right, let's talk about this amazing transformation. Like, you look at the mugshot, you look at the allegations, and this is all taking place down in Key West, right? So he's kind of like drifted down to Florida. There he is, right? That looks like someone who could potentially be a killer, right? Then you look at the guy in the courtroom, and you hear him, and he sounds like a lawyer. Also sounds like he could be doing voiceover work, for goodness sake. And he married a millionaire. The co-founder of CrossFit is his wife. His life seems to have been completely turned around from at least that mugshot. Kirk, Nurmi, what do you think about how the jury is going to take all this in? Because they're going to hear a lot from this defendant because he's representing himself.
Yeah, I mean, as far as somebody who's representing himself, he's doing a great job of pointing out the failures of the state's case. And let's face it, when it comes to the state's case, there are many failures. There are many holes. I mean, we had the surviving victim on the stand today, and, he talked about going in and being intoxicated. He talked about the two men being, wearing masks, what have you, trying to take money. He did not identify the defendant. If the defendant's correct, Mr. Tucker's correct, that there's no DNA, nothing else tying him to this case, it's hard to understand how the state is going to be able to tie him to it, because right now, I mean, I would have a tough time, any juror I think would have a tough time convicting this man of murder, especially in the way he's presenting himself, right? They're going to get to know him, as you said. They're going to get to know him on a different level, not as the defendant, but as the man standing up talking to him. It's going to be pretty hard for them to sentence him, to convict him of murder, when there's really no evidence other than testimony that this event happened, not that he was associated with it.
Nima, does this man have a fool for a client, or is he crazy like a fox?
Vinny, I think he's crazy like a fox. I turned this on today, and I expected to see a train wreck. These pro se defendants, I thought this is going to be another Darrell Brooks. And I was shocked. I mean, here's someone who's articulate. He's using a laptop. He's overcoming objections. He's objecting. I mean, I don't know what's happened in the past 6.5 years, but maybe this is someone who got a law degree in prison or outside of prison. But I mean,
no, he's out on bond.
Outstanding.
He's out on bond.
I mean,
his wife has millions and millions of dollars, and a couple of those million were used to get him out.
Maybe he's doing the Kim Kardashian apprenticeship program, and all of a sudden he's a lawyer. But, I mean, he was very, very good. I was shocked. And normally, as a prosecutor, you're licking your chops expecting a layup. But I don't think it's going to be that case in this particular case.
Eklund, the other part of this is many times in many cases, the jury really doesn't get to know the defendant, right? Because they don't testify. They just kind of sit there, and a lot of times sit there kind of awkwardly, right? Sometimes they testify for a month, but that's the exception.
Yeah.
But they're going to know this guy. I mean, he is there, and he's like, and just the way he speaks, the way his voice sounds, the composure that he has there is sending subliminal messages to this jury, I think.
Absolutely. And I think that he's in a beautiful position. You have Mr. Tucker, who has the intelligence, the time because he was bonded out and the finances. So he can literally spend every waking moment dedicated to this case, to his case. And he has the resources, and you can see that. With every witness, he is showing his demeanor. He is showing his calm, cool, and collectedness. He is literally being the opposite of what the prosecution is accusing him of doing with different people. So he should be studied. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I have had the pleasure of watching a few pro se trials just like these. And when I tell you, it is a masterpiece of just being yourself, showing your intelligence, and forcing the prosecution to hold up their burden. And I think he's doing an excellent job.
Now, obviously, I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. But two things come to mind here, Kirk. Like, one, you know, if he's wrongfully accused, then we'll see what happens here. But if he actually did it, right? And again, prosecutors have to prove it, but regardless of that fact, if he actually committed this crime, I think the biggest mistake he made was not reconnecting with his high school sweetheart a little bit earlier. Because, you know, what we're seeing in court now is the turnaround of his life with her. Right? Like, right after he gets arrested, all this happens, that's when he reconnects and all of that happens. Like, if he actually did this and is, you know, I don't know if they can prove it, but if he actually did this, the mistake he made was not connecting with her earlier.
Well, you know, look, that's a big if, Vinny, but I think your question and your comment highlight that difference what Eklund was talking about. I mean, there is that message there that here's this guy, he's articulate, he's together, he probably had some coaching going on back at home, maybe he's doing the CrossFit, he looks entirely different, and that's going to serve him well as a defense, because we do tend to think about, you know, in a particularly a crime like this, right? You think he's going to be an addict, you think he's friends with addicts, this is a drug rip, what have you, and he's anything but that, and that is going to serve him so well, whether it's with this case and sentencing and whatever happens moving forward. But right now, he's showing everything that relates to him being inconsistent with a man who would commit this crime and likely headed towards a not guilty verdict.
All right, we shall see, number one, if prosecutors can prove it, and what his testimony will be like when and if he takes the stand and is cross-examined. But he has an advantage. He almost doesn't have to testify. He can sort of do that just by the way he asks the questions.